Upholstery.
Upholstery.
Upholstery. Upholstery.
It's reinvention.
It's something that's evolved hugely over time.
It's about uncovering things, and then you rebuild it and you create its own history.
You can change what is a very basic frame and turn it into something quite extraordinary.
This is a bunch of people who are using their skills as upholsterers to make art, essentially.
Upholstery, evolution to revolution.
The exhibition is a survey, I would say, of contemporary upholstery. We experience it every day when we sit on the sofa at home, but as a craft form and certainly an art form, it's quite alien to people, I think. For NCCD, the exhibition was important to host because upholstery is a huge craft, you know, with a long tradition, and it's something we've never exhibited. For me, it was important that we kind of put it up there with ceramics and glass and furniture and things that everybody knows as a craft in its own right. The fact that it's steeped in tradition just makes it even more important, really, to kind of highlight it.
So Second Sitters is basically myself and Hannah, and we're both independent upholsterers, but we get together as Second Sitters to put on exhibitions and talks and demonstrations. It's about educating the public, but then also giving upholsterers, you know, like-minded upholsterers, somewhere to kind of get together and chat and discuss. And there was a lot of talk when we first started about it being a dying craft, which kind of went totally opposite to how we felt about it. And so it was like, well, let's not let it die. Let's actually do something about that.
I really admire the work that Second Sitters have been doing. I think they have kind of come at it from the most natural kind of, you know, seeing a need, wanting to champion their craft. They've not been commissioned to do this show, they've wanted to do this show. It's something that they have self-initiated, and that just shows to me that they're so passionate. For them, it was about making a business that was kind of dedicated to finding a way of making a voice for contemporary upholstery.
We realised that actually there was nothing particularly written about the history of upholstery. You could find it in a book about furniture and you would look in the back and find upholstery and go to that page. But there was really nothing historical. So we thought, actually, let's go out there. What we want to do is have a physical timeline, because we were like, I want to know about the history of what we do. I want to know what I've learned, what I've been learning about and what happened before, and how the way we learn and how we work in workshops or in factories has changed. So that's what we sort of set about to do.
I think it's fantastic what Jude and Hannah at Second Sitters are doing to take the craft to the next level. They're doing what nobody else is doing, and that's hugely exciting. For me to be involved in this has been an enormous thrill.
Most of the pieces here are made by people who are traditionally trained craftspeople, and I think that's given everybody an insight into new possibilities.
Everyone upholsters things slightly differently, even if it's the same chair. Everyone's learnt the same skills and techniques, yet in this exhibition there's 15 different upholsterers doing totally different things, which I find really fascinating.
I think some of the themes that are interesting are this theme of sort of exposure, and I think it's really about sort of revealing a lot more of what goes on within this craft of upholstery in sort of a very unexpected way.
What I've done here is to actually expose the inner workings of the original upholstery, which I found quite fascinating. When you're taking apart a chair, you quite often get a sort of archaeological sense of adventure, and you can find old things like hairpins and photographs and that sort of stuff.
It's really interesting when you find a chair that comes from a particular country or part of the country, and you would find seaweed in it, or you would find wood chippings in it, or you can kind of really locate a piece by what you find underneath. So I'm just exploring themes of upholstery. I'm exploring techniques, I'm exploring the materials and showing people what their furniture can be or what it is.
Upholstery is a funny word. What interests me about it is the process of taking something which is no good anymore and making it good. And I'm also trying to use fabric that has been taken off of other furniture.
For me, creatively, to actually upholster something that doesn't need to be upholstered is really quite freeing, because no expectations there with that chair and that form. And a lot of the pieces that I'm doing more lately, I will use all the scraps.
It's trying to work with materials that are thrown away and actually reuse those, and I'm trying to give them a new lease of life, and it's trying to be creative with the materials that are freely available.
The artists are all saying it's our time, we're going to kind of show something a bit different, and I don't think you can go home and then look at your furniture in the same way. You really start to appreciate what's underneath the fabric that you never even think of.
I'm really glad that people can see the physicality of the chairs, they can see them open, they can see the different layers. So I think that's really important, because people will say, oh, it's a beautiful chair, but they have no idea what lies beneath.
There are things that you would expect to see, but then there are other things that really challenge your preconceptions of what it can be.
I think people sort of see the chair and that's what they want it to be. They really want it to just be a thing that they sit on and it looks really beautiful and it has lovely piping, and I think that they'll come here and really sort of see furniture in a different way and see different stories and kind of people using them as a kind of political comment, and and I think that will hopefully broaden people's minds or make them think very differently about upholstery.
I think it's important that people see how much craft there is involved in upholstery, and then also that they sort of think differently about the furniture and the way that we sort of interact and live with it.